Again, I am the rum-soaked pirate, and I am bringing you another tutorial today. And this is, for example, if you ever have something that you made, for example, if you're an all-in-one designer and modeler and you know how to do crafts and you just want to make sure that you know how to do a little bit of everything like I do. Um, so let's just say, for example, you want to create your own logo. I'm sorry, you have your own logo and you want to make it in 3D. Of course, you can pay somebody to do it, and it's going to be a hefty, depending where you go, it's going to be a hefty price. However, with the basics of Maya, I'm going to show you how you can basically take your logo and you can make it into 3D and you can texture it, and then you can export it to programs. You can UV it. You can make it do all kinds of things. So let's begin. The first thing I did was I opened up my Maya. I press File, New Scene, don't save. Again, in these videos, guys, it's very important that I tell you most of the stuff that I'm showing you I've already done for my own sake. So I don't save anything. You should be saving your work. You should be creating a project file where your textures are going to be, where your models are going to be, animations. You should do that. But this is just me getting down to the meat and bones so that you can get your feet wet and get the ball rolling. I'm gonna probably also show you a few tricks of what you can do too. But for now, let's begin with just making your own logo. So right now, I'm in the perspective viewport. I'm gonna click in the middle, press space bar, and I'm gonna go to not to the side but to the front because this is the way I want my logo facing. So I'm gonna press view. I'm gonna put import an image, right? I'm gonna go to my Creative Cloud and I'm gonna go to my logo, which should say Rum Soap Pirate. Let me put it by name so it makes it easier. Of course, if I go into the right folder, it might work, right, guys? Sorry about that, Rum Soap Pirate. And now let's go back and look for my Rum Soap logo. So I'm gonna scroll till I see Rum Soap Pirate logo, and I'm gonna pop that in. So this is what I want. I'm gonna press open. So right now, this is huge. If you can tell, each little square is 1 inch. That's huge. I don't want it that big, so I'm just gonna shrink it down to, let's say that's 6 inches. Let's go a little smaller. No, let's leave it at 6 by. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of height by 1, 2, 3, 4 inches wide. I'm gonna press W. I'm gonna push it towards the back, and you can tell because you see these lines here. If it's back in the grid will cover the design. So I'm gonna push it back into space. I do this so that when I rotate, it doesn't interfere with my model. You see, it's gonna be very rare that it's gonna interfere with what I'm doing in my turnarounds. So once I'm happy with that, here in this one, since I'm going to be working, I don't want all these lines from the grid. I'm just going to turn it off right here. Next thing I'm going to do is with that selected, I'm going to go to my right side here, and I'm going to go to where it says channel and layer. Important thing you want to do first is make sure that you don't mess up your reference or delete it or rotate it, and it throws off your work, and then you have to backstep and mess up whatever you're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layers. I'm going to create layer from selected. I'm going to click it once and twice. When I click off of it and try to select it, that bad boy ain't going nowhere. So now let's begin. The first thing you want to do is analyze your scene. Here I'm pressing Option and I'm middle clicking, and I'm dragging in. Again, it's difficult for me because I'm using the Wacom Intuos Pro Medium today. I was using the large on my last one. Today I'm using the medium. But my button settings is click, which is what you regularly do with the tip of it, middle click, and right click. So here we go. The first thing you want to do is you want to click on a plane. You're going to get it right in the middle of your viewport. You're gonna press E. You're gonna hold down J and you're gonna rotate it so that it faces you, and you can tell by that blue line. You see how it's facing up here? When it faces you directly, it's perfectly straight. The next thing you wanna do is click on it. You're gonna come over here to your attribute editor, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the polyplane and get rid of the subdivisions here. You don't need that right now. And important, for you to be able to see your work, you're gonna have to come to shading and turn on X-ray, shading, and I'm gonna turn on wireframe on shaded because for me sometimes it helps out to see where things are going. Now that that's set, I'm gonna press W. I'm gonna click it here, right? I'm gonna line it up as much as I can. Vertex. I'm gonna push it up. I'm gonna take these two, and I'm gonna push it all the way across, right? And then now, let me bring this down to where I need it. I'm gonna divide this exactly where you see those two lines, and then I'm gonna work on each one. It's still gonna be separate but together. You'll see what I mean. So first things, mesh tools, insert edge loop, click on the little box here and reset it. Close it. Now you're gonna click and drag that, you see my dotted line to where I want it. Click and drag. I'm gonna do it, oops, I'm gonna do it again, guys. Sorry, click and drag to about there. And I'm gonna do it again, oops. It's just, let me zoom in, guys, because I'm not seeing too well. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna do this one more time right there. I'm gonna click off of it, because if you don't and you press W, it's still gonna have the tool selected and it's gonna give you issues. So always, once you're in a tool, press Q. Always, it'll get you out of there and it'll take you to the selection tool. You're gonna right click, select the face, click once, delete, click again, delete. What I meant by together but separately means that if I insert edge loops here, even though this is part, let me show you what I mean. This is all one piece. My edge loops here are not gonna affect anything else on this side. But I still got it set up. Later on, we're gonna do the other sections, and I'll show you how to do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click. You know what? Let's separate these, because if I click vertices and they're close to this one, you're gonna get confused. How do we do that? So with that selected, make sure you're in object mode. You're gonna shift right click. I'm sorry, you're gonna right click or shift right click. Let me see. I should be in object mode. So anyway, so let's select the faces, shift right click, and you're gonna put detach components, right click object mode. They're still together. There's still another step we have to do, and now we have to do mesh, and we have to separate them. Once you separate those, you're gonna get a group here. I usually ungroup them. In this case, let's keep them together because I'm gonna animate them later on as a group. So let's keep that. Now we're gonna double click here and call this RUM. And if you want, you can click RUM. You can rename it. So let's do that. I'm sorry. Double click R. Double click Command AU. Double click M and click off. So now you'll know what you're working with and which one you're editing. It doesn't matter what order they're in, because once you select the group, it's still going to be in the correct order, so that doesn't matter right now. For today, I'm going to get you started with just doing the lettering, and in part 2, I'll do the UV and then texturing so that you guys can see that the possibilities are endless. So let's begin with the first one. I'm gonna right click vertex, press W, and I'm gonna bring this down to about here, and I'm gonna take these two and I'm gonna push it out to about here, and then let's leave that right there for now. So we're gonna come back here to our insert edge loops, and we're gonna insert one here to match that, one here to match that, one here, one here, one here, and one. You know what? That's fine. I'm gonna show you why. So if I right click and press vertex, I'm gonna press W. I'm gonna get a rough estimate of what I'm trying to get. We'll worry about the curvature later, about perfecting the curvature later. Right now we're just trying to make sure that we get this to fit as close as possible. So let's get this baby here. We're gonna push this one to here. Like I said, don't worry about the curvature right now. We're gonna push this one here. We're gonna push this up to about here. Now this is where it becomes very important that you pay attention to little details, because right now I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna push it here, right? And then what I'm gonna do is, to make sure that things flow the way I want, I'm gonna right click. You know what, let's insert one more edge loop here. You know what, let me see. Anyway, what I was gonna say was, if you click the edge, one edge, right? Shift right click, and you're gonna add detach. Object mode. And if I right click and do the vertex and press W, I don't have to go crazy. I'll just push that down to about there. I'm gonna push this one up here, and I think that's good for me right there. These need to come in a little more. As you can see, they were out of whack. Let's push this one up here so we can keep a nice clean line going across, and then we'll deal with the rest in a minute. We're gonna take this one, we're gonna push it there. We're gonna push this one back a bit. You know what, let's just leave it there and just slide it up better. Okay, now we still have this spot here. What you can do is just click here one time, vertex. So if you ever have a situation, let's say where this is here, and you want to straighten it out, don't guess by doing this. What you can do is select both, press the letter R, and drag to the flat, and you're all set. Now we're gonna take this one, we're gonna push it over. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to do that. I want to take the R so it's aligned with the bottom. W, and I'm gonna push it to about there. And let's see what I want to do here. We're gonna use this to our advantage, so let's leave it where it is. And I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna push it up to meet. Let's pull this up all together, right around there. We're gonna push this one close. Remember, the point of 3D modeling and making sure that you get what you want right is following the silhouette as close as you can. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take these and we're gonna insert more edge loops, but in groups. So let's say multiples, we're gonna put 5. I want 5 all across the board. Here, here. No, let's not do that one yet. Let's go down to 3. Let's put 3 here. Let's put 3 here. I'm sorry, 3 here. And I think we should be fine everywhere else. Why am I doing this? If I click on the vertex on the outside first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna align. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna align those to the model. So what I'm doing is every little edge every little vertex, I'm gonna try to line it up as close as I can to the outside of the model of the letter R. I'm thinking to make this video short, I'm just gonna do the letter R, Just to give you a gist of what's supposed to happen, I'm gonna do the letter R. I'm gonna export it like I did in my other video, and we're gonna texture that and see what we get. So let's say I want this here. Yep. And I'm gonna just keep working around. This is gonna be a little rough, but we can fix that a little bit later, so don't worry about it. We're gonna push this here. We're gonna push this here, and we're gonna push this one here. This we can disperse it if we want. So, just to get some extra curvature, we can do that. We can do that here and here. I haven't deleted these faces for a reason because I don't need them, but you'll see what I'm trying to do. Same thing. Here we're gonna bring down this to about here, and we're gonna follow the curvature as much as we can. So we can do something like this. Something like this. I kind of went overboard with this one. And I'm just gonna do it roughly. Again, you can perfect it as much as you want. I'm just showing you that your logo can be made without you going crazy or paying somebody a lot of money for something that you can, be bold, be adventurous, and not be afraid to try anything and save yourself some money. As a father, most of the stuff that I try to do is to save money because, things are expensive now. So I try to do things to save money and make sure that I give my son, you know, what he needs. But I don't like, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that right now I'm not, in a position to pay for every little thing that I need. So right now I don't, I just try to help other people make their living too, So right now what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that my geometry is clean. Guys, there's nothing more important than in the beginning of your modeling to make sure that your geometry is nice and clean. So I'm going to take face, I'm going to select these since it's already nice and curved, and I'm going to delete those. I don't need that. Now we're going to work in here, and then we'll get rid of what we don't need. So still working on my vertices, I'm going to drag, click and drag. Guys, I'm doing this very roughly. Of course, you can add more edge loops and get your work done a bit more better than what I'm doing. I'm just trying again to let you guys know that it's not that difficult to get your feet wet and get your design going. Then later on when you become rich and whatever, then you can just tell people to do things for you. But right now, again, I am not in that position. I'm just in a position to help out as a pirate my friends. As a fellow pirate and a fellow friend, help out my people as much as I can. So this is what I do. I help out people as much as I can. So now that I'm happy with this, I'm gonna do the top. I'm gonna push up, push up. So you can see in a question or in a matter of minutes, we've already done the first letter. There are people that, because Maya has an option where you can use, you can type your text and bring your SVG. Guys, that's good, but then you have to do a lot of cleaning up, and it's a pain in the butt, that cleaning up and to see if it's perfect. You might export it and it might not work and you'll be frustrated. This way, you have control of what you want. Now, if you want to do something else, instead of selecting one by one like I did, you can just use this tool here, and you can press W, and you can bring it up. You can press E, you can rotate it. I don't want to do that. Let's just leave it the way it is. Object mode. And right now, I'm going to right click, face, click, and shift click everything that I want to delete. And I'm going to press delete. Right now, in a matter of minutes, we have our letter R. We're not done yet. This is just a flat plane. So if you export it, it's okay. But if you're gonna rotate it and give it animation, this does not work because you're gonna have as you can see, a black background, and that means nothing's gonna happen with that. So I'm just gonna select these two, press H to hide them. I'm gonna select this one. Now what I'm gonna do is right here is very important, guys. I'm gonna select all the edges. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna press Command E. This is an extrude. Why am I doing this? If you don't do this part now and you extrude, then you're gonna have to do a lot of extra supporting edge loops, and I don't want you guys to go crazy. So let's avoid that altogether and press Command E. And right here, I always tell people, if this is all the way here or more, it's gonna do everything faster and it can crash your Maya. You want to click it towards a pack to it's a Pac-Man signal, and then you're gonna slowly offset what you need. Right? That's a supporting edge loop right there. That's gonna give me a strong edge. Um, and you're gonna see what I mean. Once I extrude this out, you're gonna see exactly what I mean. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press Command E. I'm gonna drag it a little bit. Command E, drag it more. Command E, drag it a little bit. And if I press object mode, guys, and press 3, look at that. It's beautiful. We have a few edges to add, guys, but we saved a lot of time by doing that first extrude that I showed you guys. So I'm gonna click on it, I'm gonna press 1. How do we, okay. So we're gonna add the extra supporting edge loops that we need. We're gonna press mesh tool, insert edge loop, come to the little square, and in this case I want equal. I'm gonna try equal, see what I get. So right now I need 1 here because I want this to be a little bit sharper. That's not good for me. Let's try relative. Relative, it's okay. I think that's okay. I think we can get away with that. Let's see where it is in the bottom. Yeah, we can get away with that. So let's do it again here. And if you press 3, anyway, let me finish up and I'll show you what I mean. So let's go here and add 1 here, 1 here. These little loops that I'm adding is just to make sure, like if I press 3, I don't want that to be round. I want that to be nice and squared. So now if I press 3, look at the difference of that than this. So now we're gonna come here and we're gonna add 1 here. We're gonna add, oops, not that one, because I already did those in, jeez, come on. 1 here and 1 here, right around here. Oh, right around here. So you remember how weird it just looked? It's no longer gonna look like that. And you'll see once I'm done adding the rest of these. I don't have to worry about inside because I did it when I extruded, so there's nothing I have to worry about there. So right now I'm missing some here. See, if I press 3, I don't want that. So I'm gonna press 1 here and 1 here. What am I doing with this? Right now if I press 3 and I go into object mode, and if I go into my silhouette, it is exactly what I'm looking for. So if I press 1, I'm gonna go to object mode, and this is why I like to show the wireframe unshaded, because it shows me. And if I press Q to get out of the insert edge loops, I look around it, it looks good, and you can see that here. Now here you might want to clean up your silhouette, so let's do that. Remember, everything's about good habits, guys. You can even take these things that are too close and fix them if you want. So I can push this out a little more. But I'm not gonna do that. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna take where these need to be. So this needs to be right here. This needs to be right here. What I'm making sure that I'm cleaning up after myself with geometry, because if you don't do this, again, if you forget and you don't do this, and it's for a client, you know, some clients are very picky on what they want, and I don't blame them. They're paying you for this service, so make sure that you give them exactly what they're giving you as a product. in my case, I'm very picky, so that's why I choose to do things myself most of the time when I can. If it's something that I know it's not in my field, I hire a professional. But this is in my background. I graduated from Full Sail University as a 3D modeling and animator bachelor's. So this is right up my wheelhouse, so I can get away with not hiring somebody to do my work or my animation, unless it's something like that I can't do because it's software that I'm not accessible to. Then yes, I have to hire somebody. So what I'm doing here, I'm just reattaching everything back to my original logo, my letter R. Um, yep, right there. And I'm gonna push. I'm gonna do these all together because this is a straight line. So I'm just gonna take all these, and I'm gonna push all the way back in. Again, I'm keeping true. Let me move this one back a little more, and I'm keeping true to the silhouette, guys. This is very important. Again, because you're gonna have clients that want nice clean geometry, and you rather take your time and do it right the first time than have an unhappy client that's probably not gonna want to work with you again if you don't understand the concept from the beginning. Um, which most expect you to because um, you offering them a service and you said you can do it, so they're gonna hold you to that. So I'm gonna keep going here. Sometimes, guys, clients don't know what they want. So sometimes this is where your expertise is going to help them out to understand what needs to be done, you know, and that they can count on you and do things right. But even if they don't know, it's always good to do things right from the beginning because this is a common practice of being a good modeler. You have to do things right. You have to make sure that you do things to the client's content. Um, yeah. So I'm happy with this. This is pretty close. If I press object mode, I'm very close to what I wanted. So I'm happy with that. And what I am gonna do is I'm gonna. I'm wondering if I should add smooth this out because it might. Let me see for a second. Okay, you see this here, guys? This is stuff that you can clean up. Again, common practices to make sure that everything is nice and clean. You can clean this up. Little details like this you can fix. If I press 3, you see it's nice and clean. It's not too close to each other. And these, little details are gonna help you out a lot, especially when you're gonna UV. You don't want things to be too close. So because if you don't have clean geometry, your UVs are gonna let you know. Even if nobody else knows, you should know, and you should always again make sure that things are taken care of before you either use it or give it to somebody else to use. Um, always have good practice, guys. Have respect for your craft. There are a lot of people that you're gonna meet that cut corners. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not, guys. Sometimes it's put in the hard work and you'll get what you deserve. So what I'm doing here is I'm cleaning up my geometry. I'm leaving space all the way around that I need to make sure that, again, nothing looks nasty when I come into my UVing. Or if I press smooth, nothing is too weird. And you'll see what I mean once I say what I mean by smoothing. So this is all clean. This is as clean as we're gonna get right now. I'm happy with that. So now, what I'm saying is, right now if I press smooth, watch what happens. Mesh smooth. You see how clean that is? Because I took the time, a few extra minutes to separate. You don't have these weird, crunchy corners. Everything looks as clean as possible. And even if I go back and smooth it twice, you're still gonna get clean geometry. So if I press smooth and I add another division and I press object mode, it's still nice and clean. Nothing is crossing on top of each other. And this is what we're looking for. That even if it's heavy, if I take away the wireframe and shade it, it's okay. It's what I want, right? So let me go back. I don't want it that. I want it that's smooth enough for me. And again, if you have a situation where you're not happy, let's say you don't want that sharp edge, guys, take your time. Take your vertex, press W, and work those kinks out, guys. Never settle for something that you're not happy with. I know sometimes it takes a little bit extra work, and we're almost done here, but just take your time and make sure that you're happy with. Oops. Another thing, if you press B, you're gonna get the size button, and if you press if you press middle click and drag, you can shrink the size of that. So right now, I don't want that. That's, well, we learned that just as a bonus, I guess. So if we press W and move this over, we're smoothing that edge out. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna track this one next and carefully select it. W, and we're gonna push that out. Why am I doing this? I didn't want that sharp edge in my model. Now you see how nice and curvy it is? First I had a bump there. This I can deal with. That sharp bump there I did not want. Look how clean that looks. Now let's go to the UVing part. Before we go to UVing, you see how this is lagging? I'm gonna show you why. I've done a lot of work. How do you know? If you see all of this, and I click, 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 all that, it's loaded into that one single geometry. That's a lot of work. Always get in the habit of, once you're done with that, press edit, delete by type history, delete by type non-deformer, modify freeze your transformation, modify center your pivot. Look at the difference. Look how clean that is. And now, look how fast it's reacting. It's, it's very cool when you know what you're doing and you get a chance to know that, you're in control of everything. Let's say this is my logo, the famous R. So to UV this, you're gonna have to analyze this and then know where, pick where you want to separate it. We can do it. Okay, let's do this. Let's put it here like this at this angle. UV camera based. Right click object mode. So right now you saw nothing happen, but something happened behind the scenes. If I press UV editor, click out and click in, this is what happened. It gave me an exact representation of the letter that I want to UV. I'm gonna push this off to the side a little bit because right now I'm not gonna worry about that. But just so you know, this is a very easy to use UVing editor. It's very easy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna click this edge. Which one should I pick? Right here. And I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna press cut. I'm gonna come to this side, select this edge here, and I'm gonna press cut. Now, I try to make sure that my seams split where most people don't see them. Don't forget to do the inside here, guys, because if not, you're gonna have a boo-boo. So double click cut, double click cut. So right now I have 4 pieces. I have front, back, I have this whole surrounding and the inside surrounding. But when you're working with this, you're gonna have to pick, unfortunately, where you want your seams to be. Most of the times, I usually pick a place like this. So click, shift, double click to where I want it to end, and cut that. And then I'm gonna do that also, but I want mine in here hiding. I don't want it to be visible in any way. So I'm gonna zoom in, click, shift, double click, and I'm gonna press cut. Why do I say that this is a very good UV editor? Right now, if I go to object mode, I'm gonna come here, right? UV shell, I'm gonna click all the shells, click and drag. And once I hit unfold, watch what's gonna happen, unfold. Guys, I've worked with 3ds Max, and some companies don't wanna work with it. I don't understand why, because you can't get a quick result like this in 3ds Max. I tried it, and I actually was told by somebody, yeah, we know it doesn't work, but this is what they want us to use. Okay, I accept that. But it's not good, guys. It's not good. So what I want to do here is I want to have these let me see if I can get these to work together. Okay, I want these three to be together. This one I don't mind if it's separate. I mean, we can even separate it, and but let's see what we get. UV shell. I know that this is the bottom. How do I know that this is the bottom, guys? If I press edge, you'll see that right here. Oops, I was wrong. Look, you see where the red is turning here and up here? Look, I was wrong. So let's twist this again. Let's twist this like this. And let's move this one over. Press E. Now to straighten these out, guys, all you have to do is put them where you want. So let me make sure that these edges are close enough. So this edge needs to be right here. So I'm going to press UV shell. And I'm going to bring this up to about right here. And you'll know because these correspond to what you're working on. So let's say if we press edge, let's see what happens. See how it's not corresponding? So if you press the shell and you move this down, right there, it should be right there. Yeah, I believe so. Let me see. Yep, this is as close as we're gonna get. So we can take this and bring it down a little more if you want, just to be a little bit, you know, of a perfectionist. You can get this very close to the other one. Now, one thing I like to do is, let's say I want this here. I like to select it. I like to make sure that I go to arrange and layout. I orient them, they're straight, and then I press layout. And it does this sometimes. I don't like it, but it gives you a layout to make sure that it fits in the 0 to 1 space. Like I explained before, this is the front. So like I explained before, guys, the point is to make sure that everything is in the 0 to 1 space. Why? Because if anything is outside of this 0 to 1 space, I'm gonna shrink it a bit just because I'm a bit picky. If anything is outside of the 0 to 1 space, you're gonna get this distorted mesh when you texture it. So I'm happy. I'm again edit, delete by type history, delete by type non-deformer, freeze, and center. So now that I'm happy with this R, I'm gonna file. I'm gonna export the selection. Again, I'm not saving nothing except this part that I'm doing here because this is just for you guys. I don't keep none of this. All of this, I eventually erase it. So R, I'm gonna put R logo, and I'm gonna press export selection as an FBX. And I'm just gonna minimize this. Now we're gonna go to Substance Painter. I did this in my last video, but I like to always show people that, you know, what you do, and if you work hard and make it right the first time, your textures are gonna look great. So let's say once this opens up, you know, the company says, oh, you know, I want to see what it looks like, the final. You're gonna press new. I always use alpha blend in case I have transparency. And I'm gonna select the letter R logo. I'm gonna press open. I'm gonna go with 4K on this and press OK. So here's your logo. And let's say right now you want your logo to test it. You take this and you click and drag. I'm sorry guys, this is being click and drag. And if you shift, click and drag, that looks pretty decent. You know, I'm happy with this because again, you know, you guys are gonna pick up habits and practice stuff and it's gonna get better. But again, if I pick something like this, there's very, very little with the way that I cut the seams with certain materials that's gonna affect it at all. So let's say that your letter has to do with a jersey. You can see right through this. It has transparency. You can tell because if you look at it, you can see through that transparency. You see it there, right here. Um, let's say this is some type of rock. This is called abandoned castle. And if I rotate the light around this, I'm happy with that. You know, your logo is gonna look great. You can animate it, you can texture it, you can do whatever you want. And we did it in I don't know how long it's been, maybe 30 minutes. And right now I'm just dabbling around with more texture so you guys can see what's possible. Let this one load. I like that one. It's not loading, it's being weird. So yeah, maybe it's being a bit because it's loading my stuff. Plus I have Maya open. Yeah, that's what it is. Remember, the more stuff you have open, the more memory um, you're gonna use. Um, but as you can see, no matter what I'm applying to it, it looks great. Um, I already showed you in the other video how to bring it back into Maya using um, Arnold and the lighting. But anyway, I'm gonna show you one more goodie before I leave this tutorial. I have a lot of stuff, guys. Again, I used to model for Land Rover company, and I used to design seats from scratch and designs from scratch. So I have a lot of stuff going on. So let's say with this, let's say I'm happy. I'm not gonna export the textures. I already showed you how to do that before. But as you can see, this looks good. If you are doubting that this looks good, let's pick a different texture, and I'm gonna show you how this looks in iRay. So where's the one that I wanted? Okay, let's say I want this. Let it load in a minute, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like in iRay. If you're doubting that your work is gonna work, you know, and it's gonna look great, and if it's for your client, they're gonna be happy. Why is it not picking this one? Let me delete these and click and drag this, see if it applies it. Here we go. So I'm gonna shift click and drag. And if you wanna see if it looks good, that looks realistic, guys. It has a good look. All you gotta do is go mode, render iRay, and look at it in that light. Look at that. And this is not even fully rendered. This is just a basic 1000 sample. You can bring this up to like 5000 as a sample. There's other settings also. For example, if you wanted to see how much better it can look. There are settings in here like you can do the anti-aliasing. I'm sorry. You can bring up this. You can bring this up. There's stuff here that you can also from low. You can make it high, and it'll give you better quality. So let's do that. Let's go to high here, and let's say I want it to be more. It's at medium. Let's put it high. Let's bring this to medium soft. And little by little, if you're paying attention, you'll see how much better it gets. I think this is all we do for here, right? Yeah. So this is good. And the resume, it looks good. It's a good looking material. Let's say if you were dealing with a leather company, all you have to do is click on, let's say this is my bull leather. And look at how cool that looks. That's what we're talking about. That's what I mean by clean geometry and good UVing. Yeah, good UV, laying your UVs out. And if let's say you had light working around this, it's not gonna fail you because it's always gonna look great. And if you twist it in the light, you're gonna see that there's no way that this won't sell to one of your clients, and your work is gonna look great. We haven't touched animation yet, but we will eventually. I'm not gonna save this. I'm just gonna close out. I already showed you that that's possible. Something else that's cool. Let's say you want to make your letter. Yeah, let's be a bit silly and do some a silly animation. I'm gonna quit that. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna stretch it out. This is my floor. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna drag it up a little bit more. This is just a little bit of a goodie, right? And let's say I want this to fall apart. A little bit of animation, guys. So let's hide this image. I don't want that in to show anymore. I don't need it. So you're gonna come here to where it says FX. You're gonna click this, and you're gonna create an end cloth. You're gonna shift click the base, end cloth, create a passive collider. What is this gonna do? If you come down here and just drag, watch what's gonna happen to your letter R. Blah. The cool part about all this is if you select your letter R, you press end cloth and you press presets. I'm sorry, where's my end cloth shape presets? You have a lot of stuff, guys. Let's say I want a water balloon. Where's my water balloon? Replace what I have. Watch what happens with this water balloon. It is insane, guys. If I boink. No, I don't like water balloon now. Let's say solid rubber. And I let it drop. Yeah, water balloon, I could have did some work on that, but let's say if this is rubber, you see how it's stretching out like rubber? Watch what's gonna happen. Boink. And again, it's tearing apart because we don't have so much. You know how we can fix this? Let's go back to modeling, mesh, and let's add more geometry, see what happens. And now let's try this. Sometimes if it wrinkles up like that, it's because it does not have enough supporting geometry and it'll fall apart. And that's what happens. But let's say, look at the difference. Boing. You see that? It did not show all those little black parts that came up when I first did it, because now it has more supporting geometry. So let's test out another beach ball. Let's replace beach ball. This takes long, guys. This is loading pretty fast, and that's because I have an i9 and I also have 128 gigs of RAM into this Mac. So I made sure that I had enough to support this. Some machines may not support this and will crash or take forever, but look at this, guys. If it's a beach ball, it's gonna bounce out of the way. Once it loads a bit more, let me push it up to 200 so that it loads more. So when I press play, it gives you the whole animation instead of just me clicking and dragging. Most of the time, you want to change your playback speed to real time, guys. So keep that in mind. Click out of that, and if I press play, watch what's gonna happen. The other fun thing is, let's go back. Let's go all the way back and so let's do something else. Let's say you want this to wrap around the letter R. What we do is, let's go back. Let's keep this here. Let's put the R on the ground. Let's keep that there. Let's shift click and drag this. Mesh smooth. Mesh smooth. You can actually do it here too. I just don't like Maya crashing on me, but let's just leave it like that. So you see how much that has? Let's say I want this to be like a piece of cloth falling on this and revealing it. I can set this up in a way. This is why, again, why I like Maya and 3ds Max failed me. And you know, unfortunately, I lost my job because 3ds Max was dragging me. Where this I've done in less than half an hour, what was taking me a week or two to do in 3ds Max. So unfortunately, I lost my job because of that. But I know it wasn't because of me, so I don't feel bad. I know it's just that the company didn't have faith because I was the new guy and I was the Maya guy. So now let's just say I want this to wrap and fall here and do all that good stuff. We're gonna go to modeling, effects, and cloth. We're gonna make that the end cloth. Click, shift, click, and let's do this one step at a time. Click, shift, click, and cloth. Create a passive collider. Click, shift, click, and cloth. Create passive collider. What's gonna happen is it's gonna collide twice. It's gonna collide with the letter R, and it's also gonna collide with the floor. So let's say this is your studio and you want this piece of leather to land on the R. Once I click and drag, watch what's gonna happen, guys. So I might need more geometry here. So I'm gonna press modeling, mesh, smooth. Okay, so now I saw that it's too far on top of the letter R, so it's gonna cover it completely. I don't want that. But you see what we got here? You see how cool that looks? So let's just say that's too much for me. I'm gonna press W, move it here, and I'm gonna move it here. And now let's wait for this line to load a bit so we can have smooth preview. And let's see what happens here. No, I went too far. See what I said about letting the line load? Because then, now what you can do is, if you have the memory, you can do this on the fly and wait for it to load and see what it looks like. So let's see what this looks like. I don't like that it's poking through, but it should fix. Again, wait, let the pink line load. Pink salmon, whatever you want to call it. Let it drop. So let's say I'm not really happy with that though. Let's say I want it a little bit farther back. Let's see what we get when the salmon line gets there. Nope, it's too. Let's bring this over. See what we get. So this is what's good about having memory. because right now I'm gonna show you something. You see how cool that looks? Right now we're dealing with this, so let me see if I press mesh smooth and see what we get. Let it reload and see what we get. See if it doesn't cut through. So it still cuts through, but we get a nice, look at that. So what we're gonna have to try to do is, let me see. Is it really gonna peek through like that, or is it just because I'm rendering? Hold on, guys. So maybe I won't let it go all the way through. I have to let it go all the way through. But maybe we want something like this. So now, you want to see something cool with lighting. Let me hide this back here. I'm not going to go too crazy with rendering or nothing like that. But what I am going to do, I'm going to assign a new material, Arnold, standard. I'm going to press G, Arnold, standard, G, Arnold, and standard one more time. Why am I doing this? So right now, I want to see how this will look with some lighting, right? So right now I'm gonna press renderer. I'm gonna go to Arnold and I'm gonna press play, and you're not gonna get nothing right now at all because Arnold works with lighting. So it's there, you just don't have any lights. There are two ways we can approach this. Let's say that I want to create a simple light, which is a, let me see, spotlight. Yeah, let's take an area light. So now if I click and drag this out and I push it up, so we can do something like this, guys, and we can move this out or in, and if we increase our intensity and we push this up, let's push it out a little more, you know, let's see what it looks like from the front. Okay, so see, these are little things that you can look at and you can animate later, but let's just say I'm happy with this, and I'm gonna push it to the side to get some lighting. I'm gonna push this over here. So instead of rotating and going crazy, this helps you out so you can say, okay, you know what, I like the way that looks, but let's push it more over here. Let's push it more this way and push it out more. One of the things that you can do is you can add another plane and push it up to this, because this shouldn't be that far off the ground. But what I wanted to show you was the following. Let's say I'm happy with this, right? I'm gonna change it to 20 to get more lighting out of it, and I'm gonna push it back. And I'm gonna push it this way. Let's say that's what I want my scene to look like. When you're working with Maya and Arnold, this is again, this is what I was trying to explain to the company that I used to work for. They did not want to hear it. Let me go back and see what happens when I. So check this out, guys. Let me click out of it. I'm having a hard time. Let's keep it here. Let's say this is what I wanted. Anyway, point is, if I come here, I press object mode. I come here and I go to my standard surface. We have presets. So let's say I want this to be. God, I don't like none of this. Anyway, let's keep that. And let's make the R with a material. So we're gonna come all the way to standard surface, presets. Now this is the fun part, guys. If I wanted this to be, let's say rubber, Plastic, clear water. Check that out. And if you're not happy with clear water, let's go back to AI standard surface and let's pick car paint. This is why I was trying to let the company know that Maya is a beast, because you're not going to get this in 3ds Max right away. You have to export it, render it. What if you don't have enough capital to do so, or you're just trying to save time and get right to the point? Maya is going to get you there. Now look at how nice we get this nice reflection. This is just a preview, guys. This is just a window preview. Now, let's say I want the floor to have another material. I'm going to go to presets, close, presets, and I'm going to go to Chrome. Look how freaking cool that is. Not only that, let's say you don't want this light. Let's say you want a dome light. You go to Arnold, light, sky dome. Doesn't look as good as it did before. Not only this, Arnold also has a sky, a physical sky. Now that is freaking cool. And if you mess with the azimuth, check that out. Check that out, guys. You can animate the azimuth. So let's just say here, right? Let's just say as of there, I'm gonna set a key, right? And let's say at here, I want the azimuth to rotate. Set key. It should work, guys. Yep, it works. So you're gonna get this because now this pink line has to work through all of that. So if we press play, let it play through, and the cloth should drop. If this is too much of a hassle for you guys, just press stop. And just see the line is loading. So let it work. It's gonna take a bit longer because now we added animation. So we're gonna let it work. But if we click further on, you can actually, you know what, you know what, it's not a good idea. Anyway, guys, so this is what I wanted to say, just that, you know, animation is not as hard as it looks. Getting details into your design is not as hard as it looks. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you guys taking the time to look at it. If there's anything you guys need or want to see, please let me know. I'll be very happy to create a tutorial for you. And until the next time, guys, take it easy.